Cool. So can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me well? All right. Nice. Yeah, I was yeah, I don't know. I was hearing a kid the other day. She was talking to her mom about how excited she was about the kid stab.
Stabby?
Yeah, she's like, hey mom, did you hear they just let out the stabby for kids, and it was like a new toy was out or something.
Wow.
Like, and it was obvious that it was for certain, like whatever like show she watched or something. Like they got to be having like their favorite TV shows and characters on those shows.
It's such a polarizing thing, man. It's amazing that people can feel all the ways that people obviously feel, I guess.
Yeah, it's just showing. I feel like it's revealing a lot of values that I feel like the whole time that were beneath the surface, but this is just, now it's at the surface. It's just kind of bringing it to everyday life, just what people really believe or where they're at.
Yeah, I think I kind of had some, idea of it, because I used to argue a lot. You know what I mean? You could look at my old videos. There's a lot of what they call anti-stabby stuff on there from years ago. So, you know what I mean? And I just used to argue. I remember arguing people tooth and nail, man, about that stuff. And now it's in this place. I wonder if they feel vindicated, because I feel totally vindicated. Like, I'm glad I, took the approach I took. Ended up on this side of history, but I wonder if they feel that way. It looks like it's just like such a paradox about how people don't want to be around those that shed, and those people don't want to be around, and other people that they don't want to be around people that don't have the stabby. So it's crazy, yo. It's crazy.
It is. I mean, it's a historical event that we're still in. Like, we're still going through whatever it is. I don't know. Like, I was thinking the other day, people were in Vietnam and getting shot at in Vietnam, and some people would say like, oh, we're not in those times anymore, but I feel like it is. It's just like, it's just hidden like this, and we're still, so it's like a war we're still dealing with, and we're gonna be on one side of it, but there's no telling for like at least another few decades, like really the gravity of what we're going, what we're in.
Yeah, I wonder, man. I really do wonder how much is the parasite at the steering wheel of these bodies, where it's like, I don't care, I'll destroy this body and come back to my kid's kid, or whatever, my clone, whatever, and keep going, keep this thing going. And this is patience. I want to just affect you guys more, and this is a 100-year thing, you know what I mean? We're looking at it like on that, or I don't know. You can learn further than that. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
But we colonized humanity. Let's just keep going toward reinventing the colonization,
or proliferating it, or like deepening its hooks. I feel like you said something about like an 80-year plan, like it, but it's just. It's like, it's kind of hypothetical, but damn, like you could really like roll out a strategic plan that spans like beyond anyone's like at like a 72-year lifetime, like.
Yeah, and you would think, like, why would anyone behave like that if they knew they weren't going to be around for the world that they're creating?
Unless they could come back in more bodies, or they felt like they could come back in more bodies. Yeah.
They had to be some kind of psycho like that,
like a spiritual psycho, but. Yeah.
This is a Matrix farmer. What if in their mind they just think of it like, yeah, she's a loosh farm? Same way you look at like an ant farm.
Yeah, and just harvesting
people's whole lives. People think that they got like whole lives and identities, but they're just like a fucking honeydew to somebody else. This is a loosh farm. You're a fucking cantaloupe.
Dude, I mean, that's what it's not like the first time I've heard of this, possibly being what it is, like a science experiment, like some kid's 8th grade science experiment,
No, I'm not even saying, yeah, that too. I definitely heard that. I'm just saying, like, somebody being like, yo, man, this is just, that's how I live, man. The same way that you farm plants, I farm matrices, I create matrices, I trap souls, I farm their energy. It's the same way I do it, man. It's the same way you do your cantaloupes. Like,
yeah.
Like, why do they look at it like that? And it's just so, like, nihilistic.
It's more, it's just neutral. It just seems, it just seems like it would make mad sense. Like, there's just like a macro drama or a macro play that's no different than a normal, just a everyday shit that we do and think. It's just happening on a macro scale.
Yeah, like, I guess people farming, animals is really like a whole other level of parasite, but still, it's just like, I wonder if they look at it that way, like, man, it's all bets off, man. We're all just like vamping, so don't get caught in a leech farm.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know.
Well, if that was an end game, like, I've seen ideas like that, like, yeah, the end game of whatever's wanting to vamp humanity is just to get it to where you can just take their eggs and their sperm and just kind of like use them for use the only human part that they have and just use them for that and then cast them away, like just harvesting human eggs and shit. I don't know what you want to, like, yeah.
Man, I don't get it, man. It's a totally different way of looking at things. Like, where you like, hey, man, what's good for you is good for me, and people just get better. It makes the environment better. It makes everybody better. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's plenty of bad broads out here that, like, I know that they're not gonna ever be with me, but I still want to get the breath into their life because it'll make my life better.
Yeah.
If there's more bad broads doing it or whatever, then, you know what I mean? I feel like it, I feel like I guess it's the same. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a question, I don't know, you had it like a while ago, because if everyone was financially stable, what would be the goal?
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, then you got all the bad broads is like really mad influential in life. They're always gonna be, right? They're bad. Right now they're all on like the net, and like they just all like false identifying. You know what I mean? Most of them, a lot of them, upwards of 90% of the bad broads on the earth are on the net. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the ones that, you know what I mean? At this point,
yeah.
So I was in a Muslim country and it was on the net, the bad ones. So like I feel like that at this point it's so crazy, like how that is, like how colonized motherfuckers are. Like, you meet a motherfucker in person, but they still like they're like an internet person too that they like gotta cater to. There's other internet them that they gotta cater to. It's like you haven't met yet. You know what I mean? If you meet them in person.
Yeah.
And it's funny as shit, but yeah, man. It's nuts, man, how this shit is. I feel like if you had all the bad broads doing whatever, the next challenge, instead of just getting attention and whatever the fuck they're doing now, the challenge. I mean, it's not really a challenge to what they really are. I mean, the challenge is such a low level of their being, or not a complete part of their being is being challenged.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so, like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, the bad broads was having different tasks than just getting attention and harvesting energy, then we'd be in a different place.
Yeah.
Like harvesting other energy. You can cultivate your own energy, but you know what I mean? Like, to just vamp. It's like incentivized to vamp. It's like the platform.
Well, it's so yeah, that's just the platform. That's the basis of communication. That's the intellectual medium, and it's like I don't know. Like, there's just something about distractions and noise.
What would you do if everybody had money though? Like, you know what I mean? Because you couldn't sell nobody nothing really.
Exactly.
If
I feel
everybody
like
was like good.
it would just be personal. It would be personal development. I just feel like
Yeah.
there's no other thing that would really be fulfilling at that point, other than like actually refining your character to have another type of fun with the physical stuff, with the physical stability. It'd be lifestyle. It'd be just a whole nother lifestyle. But that's
Yeah. It'd be wild because it somehow would have to be some type of equal challenge or greater challenge.
exactly.
I guess. But yeah.
Like the fucking you know, I don't like the term like it's something about integrating the shadow. Like I'm just looking at young stuff, and you know, as much as people have to be superficial, be on the net, craft a mask, and the mask is shielding something that is driving people's like unexplainable behavior, negative behavior, the uncontrollable negative aspects of who we are. It doesn't matter how much money you have. So it's just like getting on top of integrating the personality, all the fragmented parts of ourselves. I just like that'd be ideal of what it could be if everyone didn't have to worry about surviving. I mean, what's next? What's the next challenge? And it's the internal. It's the internal one. Is this without a doubt?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess at that point people wouldn't be doing things for vanity, not nearly as much.
Or it could be just in a more intelligent or conscious way, like just using the need for attention and just directing that towards, you know, another creative endeavor. Like, but some people take the need for attention and just like, I don't know, and then vamp. I don't like, not in a way that's like productive or constructive or creative. Like, I don't know. Like, it's something about that. But it's that basis. So it's if everyone has to interact on the social media or on the net, because you were saying something about the language of like, if it's sexual, if her pictures are really sexual, don't be surprised if all the people who are interacting with you, it's on a sexual basis. Same thing if it's like all the pictures or all the nature of what everything we post is superficial, then we're only doing that on that basis, and we can't get into the depths, more depth, I guess, like, and there's, just the constant noise and echoes of other voices, other people's ideas and shit. It's just no one, and then, you know,
Yeah. Man, it's a wild thing, man. It's such a crazy thing, man. The net, like, it really is a web, man. It's a net. It is. But like, yeah, I guess it could be used. You know, it could be used for wholesome things, or it could be like used as a means to an ends of reaching. So I mean, something wholesome. But I feel like the net, man, I guess it's just like designed to be that way. You know what I mean? Like, I just think about this shit all the time, man. The things that people worry about that they wouldn't worry about if like so much shit would be a gift, like, in a lot of ways, like, because like if the supply chain was to, like, you know, freeze up or whatever, or if people was to just have to go back to nature and go be in the silence, it would be like 20 to 40 days of just like a rough ass time, like.
yeah.
But then, like, after that, man, like, once you really got over to like the whole habit of checking the phone and everything, like, you'd be like so much more liberated than you are.
Yeah.
So it's so crazy to think like how like the things that people are afraid of is like there's probably a lot of the same shit that be the catalyst to get them out of the bad habits, like, that keep them in a certain state of consciousness, like, because I feel like it's almost like, I think about this shit all the time, man. Like, if they put certain people in prison, they'd be bad for the prison structure. so they just let them be free. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, and like it's like harder for them to be free than if they were in prison. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like certain things is that way, like where like they, you know what I mean? Like just the way the life is. You know what I mean? Things just end up that way where, you know, like it's people got different. It's funny because it's different. It's tailored to people's abilities or whatever, or their strengths and their weaknesses or whatever. Like, so you just never know, like, what someone, like, what poverty is to somebody, or what wealth is to somebody, or whatever, or what like bothers them or won't bother them and everything. So it'd be crazy, like how the challenges be tailored like that, and like, as far as like, you know, unspoiling yourself to where, you know, like if you had to just, oh shit, can't rely on any of this shit that makes me lazy anymore. Now I gotta, you know, teach myself how to play the saxophone because I can't hear no music on my shit. Yeah. Whatever, you know, whatever happened. You know what I mean? The grid went down, the power grid went down, or something. Whatever. Who knows? Maybe that shit went all electronics stopped working. It would probably make you just so much better. And you like, damn, man, shit, like, I'm thinking about shit that, like, it's not even, like, it's crazy. Like, yeah. If I spend hours doing something else. Like,
and doing it yourself.
What's up?
Oh, and doing it yourself. Like, doing something else and doing shit yourself. With yourself.
Yeah, but it's like if the internet's not there, then I guess something else is going to just fill all them voids in other ways. You know, you read books, read the newspaper, whatever, play instruments actually, go to things physically, or whatever. Like, it just constantly flips. Like, where, you know, you can't inhabit as much of the outer world. The outer world is more patrolled and Minority Report-ish. So you go deeper into your consciousness and perception is more on the inside.
Yeah.
And then, you know, and then it probably just keeps going back and forth, probably ebb and flow of that, I guess. You know what I mean? I don't know.
No, it's happening. I see it. That's wild, man. I'm thinking it's even just seeing how the internet holds memories. Like, it's supposed to hold memories, and everybody loves using like computer jargon to talk about the brain and like how the brain holds memories. You know, the internet holds memories, but you know, if you depend on the internet to hold your memories for you, you know, they're kind of like there's something missing. They're kind of like hollow. But like that's sort of how people are engaging with the experience if it's just only through the screens. And I'm really glad I got to this point because someone in the Patreon group, they wanted us to talk about like crystals and screens, like liquid crystals and shit like that. What that's about, even, you know. But if it's something about even just looking at memories and how important memories are to consciousness and meaning and being, you know, if it's, there could be memories on the computer or memories that are your memories and your experiences. So like if the grid did go down and you learned saxophone on your own, your relationship to that experience is so much more deep. It's so much like it's deeper. It's just more depth of experience instead of like on 2D or just through a screen or something like that. But then I don't know.
Yeah, man, it's weird, man. Like how, yeah, like how you can like something in the second dimension, and then when you see more dimensions of it, you be like, oh, never mind. It's like,
yeah,
like it's crazy.
Yeah, and oh man, but it's changing our brains. Like I just feel like it's literally changing how our brains are working. And
oh man, even just looking at the fucking screen, and then when I go to sleep, I feel like it takes me like, since I looked at, that's why I've really been trying to, you know. So I think the winter helps me a lot because I be like, man, I kind of have like little rules of myself to like not look at screens in the dark, you know, as much as possible.
Yeah.
So, you know, in the winter, it's really not that much. I have not that much sunlight here in this canyon, and like, so I'll be like, oh well, shit, that's the end of that. Because yo, I can feel it. I can feel it. Like the type of sleep I'm getting now is better just because my brain is more like, it's less fragmented from less screen time. When I have more screen time, like that first hour of laying there is just like my brain readjusting and like Like it's almost like it's still scrolling.
Yeah, it's a constant distraction. Like if there's
It's like metaphysically scrolling.
in the scrolling, it's really light and non-linear. Like it's just the how the consciousness moves with scrolling and hyperlinks and ads and other things all around. Just it's as opposed to like sustained attention and focus and stillness, like to get to more linear thought.
Like, so you think like YouTube is like a prison within the Akashic records?
If it's distraction, it kind of is.
No, I mean like it's like a prison, like it's like a, because like the Akashic records say like you got the Akashic records at your disposal, and it's like, oh man, it's boundless information. Yeah. And then it's just like you run into these walls, and it's fucking YouTube. Like, and I got control of all this light, all of this expression of light and memory. I wonder if it's like that. Like if it's just a cancer in the Akashic records, just isolated cell
bound
or something.
Information, yeah. It just seems like what the technology is doing, or like if it is like a mainframe to it, and it's like all based on quantifying things. If the Akashic records are boundless, then it's just bound record of the information. Then YouTube's just like a bound cell.
Yeah, because I've heard people say like, that, libraries was the Akashic records, you know what I mean? Physical 3D Akashic records. I was like, I guess when you had, before the book burnings, probably, when all the books was like, if every book was allowed, it probably would be like the Akashic records, just endless books,
That's really what it is.
Yeah. Because all that shit is written. There's mad books that motherfuckers don't even know about, man. Because I be finding books and talking to people that be reading books. I'm like, you read your Water Shank? They're like, yeah, no, I never. But how the fuck did you live all these years of your life? How'd you survive? To me, it's like incredible to me.
Yeah.
But and then I tell them about the Water Jing or something, and then it's like it's just, I don't know, it's just a wild thing how that goes. Man. It's just like YouTube, like almost like how you gotta know what to search for now with everything so censored.
Damn.
Like you gotta be like exact in your search.
Man, I was like,
you can't gloss over shit anymore. I be searching for my own videos and can't find them if I'm not exact with the title.
The English title.
Any of them, like it could be like it's gotta be them older videos though. But yeah, like it'd be like one of them like Migration to Humanity ones, older ones. Like if I spell certain things a certain way or something, I'm like, damn, I can't find this fucking video because it's 2,000 of these bitches.
Yeah.
And they got titles that don't really have anything to do with the content. Right.
There it is.
You know what I mean? It's funny like how I gotta remember specifically how to search for them. So I know other people have no way they're finding them. Other people are either directly sharing me to them, or they just stumble on me and then like just go through everything. Nice. But there's a lot of that shit, man. You can't even search for it the way YouTube is set up now with the results, because they changed it, man. It used to be the duration is what made a video worthy. If you had a high audience retention and people that they watch for a longer duration, mm-hmm. then that video will pop up first. But now they changed it to the amount of views and likes is what determines the algorithm of popularity. But if you go to a video like you're like, oh, that's not the right video, but you technically gave them a view because you watched for a few seconds to find out that it's not the right video.
Yeah.
So like, there's a bunch of videos that it's not really like, the numbers are lying, you know what I mean? Because liars, figures lie and liars figure, and the numbers aren't really true. You know what I mean? They're true technically in a technicality, I guess, you know what I mean? But
it's drowning out the old YouTube.
Yeah, but people with audience retention, like that's what used to be at the top of YouTube. And so once they made that change, I think it was like 2015, then everything changed.
Yeah, it was the same thing with Google and website hits. The algorithm would just look at how many clicks that like how many clicks go to other websites that are on that website that are credible. It would just be credibility and clicks on credibility and shit, and then about how people were starting to reference more recent works instead of older works. And then the more people were researching and clicking on more things that were referenced to something current, all the older things just got lost.
Yeah. I mean, I can only imagine they cut down all the old trees, but in that respect, like as far as with the people, the books, we got a lot of young trees. I mean, just imagine if the Library of Alexandria didn't get burned down. We'd probably be just, the amount of books, man, that's probably in there was probably just a travesty. That was literally probably just a tragedy, like for knowledge. It's a knowledge tragedy.
Yeah.
I guess in a nihilistic way, it's just shit burning. But that shit was a tragedy. Stuff like that happening in history. And you're like, damn. What does this mean on the inside of people's bodies? That's what I always wonder. Like, what does it mean when you're burning the Wahoo Chings that period of time? What does that mean?
We're still piecing it together right now. It's like we're just dealing with the aftermath of that loss of info. I feel like that information is what bridges the gap between here and the ancient future. Where it's,
you want it to be like on time. You know what I mean? And you get the info, you're like, oh shit, if I knew that at the right time, I'd have been way better off.
Yeah, and that collapses so many potential like parallel realities where you were dealing with that problem. Like now you would have never dealt with that problem just because you knew that you just boosted yourself 5 years into the unknown of what more of your potential of where you could be at with more, knowing.
Yeah, man.
Should be saving time.
Yeah, like it's just like, man.
So if
it's objective.
Losing that, you just get in the past. You just get. I feel like we did, like where we're at now. We're just so far in the past.
Yeah, it's bad.
To where we come. Yeah, relative to where we have it pieced together, and it's like.
People are not fully in their bodies, so it's like it's not like even the right kind of detached. It's like a misplaced attachment.
Yeah.
It's like I be really feeling like everything is gonna be there. Like God is gonna be there, you know what I mean? Like all the faculties of God are gonna be there. You know, detachment, attachment, yin yang, yang, or whatever the fuck, all that shit is gonna be there. And you know what I mean? It's just like the arrangement, like how scrambled are you? You know what I mean? Like if you're like a fucking, if you're super like chimera and you've been poisoned and intoxified and you eat this garbage for mad years, which mad people are chimeras at this point, but you know what I mean? It's just like, how scrambled are you, Like, everything is just not in place. Like, it's all there, though. I really feel like it's all there for everybody. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
The faculties, it's just not in alignment with the bodies, though.
Yeah, what about, I was hearing Kanye talk about 808s. Like, if it's at the root or the base of the bottom of the chakra system, when people were playing drums in like a tribal setting, the drums were upbeat and more original, organic sound, harmonic sound, upbeat drums compared to like listening to an 808 bass and what that does from the bottom up, how that like bottom up affects the whole energy system. And then I don't know, you said the word scramble, like even I just think of like microwaves and shit like that just scrambling people's memories and scrambling the DNA. Even if if it was something that was super crazy that did get rolled out with the stabs, I could see something having to do with like certain proteins that are connected with the brain and memories and being able to, like, if you were to inhibit people's ability to form new memories, you would cause them to live in a loop of all the memories that are already there. And because they can't form new memories, they're literally just in that loop. They're just caught in that loop.
Yeah.
Like whenever they got the stab, it could just kind of suspend that person in a mental, like, just because the brain, like, certain proteins aren't being produced how they could be, and then there's no way they can realize what's happening just because of how their cognizance is affected. It's like,
that thing is probably like really creating another matrix inside it, on top of another layer of matrix.
Yeah, like
inside your body.
I see that. Like if it was, yeah.
That's what I think it's doing, man. I mean, and that's apparent, honestly. It's not even a think thing. It's like, this is what's going on. You know, there is more colonization of the body. Another layer, another grid. Because I always thought about that, like, yo, the grids is laid down on the inside first. It gotta be, you know what I mean? Whenever they keep laying these grids down on the earth, it's gotta be some expression on the inside going on, like,
yeah.
When they laid it, the railroads, everything, you know what I mean? Like, all that shit, like, I feel like it has to have some kind of mark that it does to humanity, you know what I mean? And, like, once it got hit to that fucking, you know, all the different waves, all of that constant ringing hitting the body. You know, it's just a constant ringing that you can't hear, but your body is feeling it. It's being hit by this shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I wonder what it does, like, for the parasites' numbers. Like, if it just keeps their numbers up. Like, if it's just like a fucking, they just march to that tune. I don't know. Like, it's nuts, man. Like, it seems to all be in the favor of the parasites, though. That's why I always just, like, lump it like that.
I'm seeing, like, parasites as the original nanobots. Like if because I'm seeing, like, you could have something in people's bodies now that could be like some form of organic technology or a synthetic thing that if you turn it on and if it's in their bloodstream, then you can remote control that fool. You can remote control the person just because they have that technology in their body. And I feel like spiritually, there's like ancestors or somebody is remote controlling people through parasites. In the same way how, you know, people would be remote controlled through nanobots. Or, you know, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like one's
reinvention.
Like even just certain foods, you know, being from certain regions, like just certain like really mucus forming foods from some place where that food's been around for thousands of years. So if you eat that food, it could be like someone in that collective or that genetic collective, they can control you through the parasites that are connected with it. I don't know. Or the flavors, it's just like some resonance, some harmonic resonance.
I be wondering, like, how much, like, alright, so, like, if, you know, what can you do in your daily routine to really make the changes, right? Like, I be wondering, like, if you do just learn the saxophone or some shit, like, you just took it back to 1920, did you just reinvent that and bring that back? Or, like, you know, maybe not that time, but you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe whenever the first time the saxophone was created, did you just make that time period now closer to what you're experiencing? Because I feel like, because it's like you're always experiencing, like, time, you know what I mean? Because it's wild, man. I've been always thinking about this shit, the way this shit is like cyclical or whatever. Like, it's like, you know, I always feel like, as far as like my dad's dad, he's just super big, right? I've always felt like, man, well, if he's like reincarnating now, yeah, would be more racism coming back onto the earth, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like, you think about it. I just think about that stuff, like, man, the way time is, the way, like, it kind of just constantly is recycling itself, and then people you know, are like little fractals of time, little time capsules or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, it's like if your mom was grown up in a certain era, she did a certain thing maybe, then it influenced you because so now that time is like in you. It's like embedded in you. Like you didn't even live in that time, but it's like living in you.
Yeah.
And like, I just be wondering, like, when you do stuff like that, does that shift the time? Like, I think that's what all you can do is just like change your daily behaviors to shift the perception of time. I think that's the only thing you can get off in life. I really don't think I don't think you can do anything but that. I think it's one to two, and you can just change the perception of time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's going on. Yep. It's just that, because there's so many other. It's like I want to look at that and the perception of time, and then just patience, and like what time even reveals. Like one is patience and the lesson of patience that comes with time, but then how time is just like it just is always showing us more of what we didn't know previously.
Yeah. It's like, but it's the same thing. So it's like, I guess it's just what you couldn't take from some other lifetime. You couldn't get everything on your plate. So now whatever you're getting now is whatever you could. You know, you just failed the process. I guess. Yeah. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like there. It's like constantly there. Like time itself, like all of it ever, is kind of like always accessible. Kind of. Like inside you, because it's like like I was saying, you know what I mean? Like the shit that made the people in the 50s act a certain way was from somebody in the 30s, it was from somebody in the 1880s, and you just keep going back that way. You know what I mean? To where it's like embedded, and it just gets nudged a little bit, changes for the time. Yeah. It just got that like core, same thing. It's the same at the core.
Well, can you?
And like,
go for it.
I forgot. Fuck it. What was you gonna say?
I mean, it just seems like. So how could you get in touch with the time that existed before the language you use existed?
I just feel like that shit's probably like, it's probably just like accessible to you in a way that like you can't think about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Like I always refer to that Bart Simpson's episode when he went to like France in his dream and he knew French and he didn't know how he knew it. He just didn't think about it.
Yeah.
He was in the dream being. You know what I mean? He just was like, oh man, France. You know, how the fuck do I know how to communicate with these people? He was just doing it. But that's how it be in dreams though. He's like, man, how the fuck? Where am I? I don't know what I was saying to these people, but I knew he was communicating. Mm-hmm. And like, and that's how I feel like it's kind of how it is. It's like there's like hardwired in people. Like, I don't know. Like I've heard people say like babies, the sounds that babies are saying is actually just like Hebrew and ancient languages and stuff. It says no vowels. It's like ha, yeah, and all that type of stuff. I've heard that. You know what I mean? That it's all just like, you know, the primal stuff is unchangeable. So it is what it is, and that's, you know, I guess it's like all just spins of that. So even if you like get a distance, it's not like separate. It's just distant.
It's different, yeah, different kind, different flavor, different blend, different like mix or spin.
Yeah, like it's like, I know you probably know about like the Cathar grids or whatever, right?
The Cathar runes, or no?
Like how you see how the tree of life is, the sacred geometry of the tree of life.
Yeah.
You got that. It's like 11 spheres. The Cathar grids is 12 spheres. Okay. But the 12th sphere to me is just the off or whatever. Like if you look at like the regular fucking Kabbalah, the regular tree of life, they got the off in there, and that's their 11th sphere in there, and this is like around the chest, like between Haru and Osar. Mm-hmm. So it's like at the thymus gland or whatever, and that's like the bridge, the rainbow bridge or whatever, and that shit just lights up once you get to Osar, to Ong or whatever. That shit just innately lights up. Once you get all the spheres lit up, then that one lights up, and then you go to the top sphere, whatever, the Amen or whatever, the Nebuchadnezzar, whatever, the Ein Sof, whatever people call it. But like, I think that's how it is with the Cathar grids. Like, you know, like it's like a tree of life, and it's like probably like a blade. If you think about it, like on a windmill or something, or like a flower. It's like a blade. The windmill's probably a little better right now for that, or a flower, whatever. But it's like a blade, and like it's like, say you're in the center. That's like the in primal identity, and you got all these trees of life. That's just like blades or files. Like life is the same letters as file. It's just like a Cathar, like blade, and they're all inversions of the same. You know what I mean? Like it's all the same. Like it's all the same pattern, but like inverted and flipped. You know what I mean? Like a different blade on the windmill.
Yeah.
And so I think that's, you have access, you know, because you got the linguistic faculty in the Cathar grid or in the Tree of Life, whatever. And so I feel like that would be, if you're like a flower or Tree of Life yourself or whatever, if you're the center of the circle that creates all of these flowers, then those are all your files that you have access to, and like they all have that auditory faculty. And I think those are all just like the different languages that you can have access to based on like the quantum mechanics of it, to where like, yeah, you could have been from this part and had a life, and where you were in French Canada and you knew French. So since it was possible, you have access to it.
Yeah.
like that. And I think it's expressed on a grid in the Akasha or whatever, in the metaphysical or whatever, however you want to look at it, in the netters, whatever, in that blackness that you go to when you close your eyes or when you're on hallucinogens, that place, I think it's a map overall. It's like whenever we go into that place where you see all the patterns, like you're seeing the same shit. But it's like if you're looking at the Mona Lisa and you're like zoomed in too close. Like if you step out, I think it's like you see your personal Tree of Life, which is the Cathar grid or whatever, and then you have other ones all over, you know what I mean, surrounding replicated ones or whatever, all over, and you would see maybe a bigger grid. I don't know. I think that'd be just the expression of your universe that you're in, that you're inhabiting, like at some level, like circumstances are completing you, like the Tao Te Ching.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I think that, you know, you just like, your light is being refracted off of this matrix, all these matrices, or whatever, however you want to look at it, these mirrors, matrix mirror. I mean, and the expression of the light is this grid, I think. You know what I mean? And that's the grid that we're living on. That's the first grid I feel like we're living on.
Yeah.
Is that. And if you like just blow a life or whatever, and you lose access to it, then I think that that's like damage on the grid, on your grid. You know what I mean? Somehow, and you just don't have access.
It's a short fuse
to,
or something.
Yeah. And you could probably regenerate, you know, somehow. I don't know. Maybe just a reincarnate in the master qigong in that life. But
yeah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? But I think that that's what, because I feel like it's what makes sense to me, that there's a grid like a motherboard, but it's like a father board because it's metaphysical. You know what I mean? It's like, it's the light. It's the light before it's been like implanted on the motherboard, I guess. Like it's, because like, you know, the physical is just like water is just a dense air. It's like the physical is just an amplification of what's already being, the pattern that's already there. So I think that that's the pattern. You know what I mean? The grid, the first grid, the paternal grid from the the paternal grid. I feel like it's from the Father, the Heavenly Father, the metaphysical, ethereal, not earthly grid that takes form through the earthly grids. And then like when humans create grids, it's coming from the inside. People are mentally conceiving of it, so it has to be coming from the inside of people to like create a grid and then put people under it. And then it's all coming from the inside ultimately. But I just want, it's wild, like, to think about, like, how deep the colonization is and how numb that, you know, we've become as a society.
Well, and just forgetful of that original grid. Like, it's crazy because we're in it.
Yeah.
we're of it, but not aware, and then it's slowed down to the point like we got to be able to like mesh with that awareness. It was really dope in the Medunet. I was going back over the Medunetter, and there's like an example that he gives of just imagining being in a void, and he's like, bored to death, aren't you? Like, you know, if you were just in a void, but then all of a sudden you start to realize that you have a body, and then so now all that consciousness that was absorbed in the vacuum of a void, now it's getting transferred to the cells of the body that you're just now becoming aware of as God. And then imagining even further, like being aware of yourself as the cells now. You were once just aware it was only all the void, but then all the consciousness got transferred to the cells. But then what if you forgot that you were the void? And then that's where the whole drama begins, where you just get beat up by bacteria, basically.
Yeah.
Until you go through enough to where you want to go back and merge again, or go forward.
And it's just like that mushroom world, though. You know, the microbial world. It's all being started in the darkness. You grow shrooms in the dark, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's all being started in your bowels, in the darkest parts of you. And it's like manifesting from pretty much utter thought to some level, and like manifesting inside of you. You know, these microorganisms or whatever you want to call them, these parasites or whatever you want to call them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Well, they could be that, and they can fuck somebody up if they're identified as the body. That's how the microorganisms can have sway on the depths, on just like some deeper thing, just through you, or just, you know, through the host.
It's incredible, man. It really is incredible. Like, and then you got a body that just has become, you know, compromised and addicted to certain things and certain rushes, dopamine and stuff. It's crazy, man.
And the insight, like something about how if somebody has some type of writer's block, or if they're just in like a noisy environment, or just there's a lot of distractions, just to get to the point of where there's stillness, then there's like an insight that comes out of nowhere. It's like, it's just like, I feel like we're getting barred from that portal of insight, and just living in static. And yeah, it's like really scrambling and shit. It's just scrambling memories to where is this beyond reparable? Can we not repair our consciousness after it goes so far beyond a certain point? Are there just like timelines that happen?
You know, I guess maybe there's just like an autocorrect, man, where like, you know, the collective, you know, bottoms out, or you know, things maybe it just happens for enough people as a critical mass where people bottom out,
Yeah.
and the consciousness returns to source in a big way. You know, I really, you know, I don't know if it's irreparable. It might be. Sometimes Pharaoh kind of talks to me in that tone, like where he's like, "Yo, just learn what the fuck you can learn." But it's not like he ever like totally puts out. He always says that you should adopt before having a kid. Though he always like, you know, you ever think about that? And I'm like, man, anybody about to let me adopt a kid anyway at this point? So I'm like, you know what I mean? If I apply for adoption, anybody gonna give me no fucking kid? But yeah, no, I mean, he always you know, that's like his tone. Like, if you want to share your knowledge with somebody, just adopt. That's what you want to do. And I'd be like, you know, he's like, he's not anti-kid, but he's almost like, yes, last resort shit. I'm like, all right, damn. So, like, you know, like, are you looking at, I just always wonder, like, is he posturing himself in a way where he's like, yeah, I'm not trying to, you know, come back to this place, or trying to leave as little as possible? Or I've seen people say things like, stretch your life out to where, you know, you do something like have a kid late, and it's like all the things that can happen in life have to happen, and you stretch it that way if you have the kid late.
Okay.
I don't know if that's what if he's getting at that. You know, I don't know. It's kind of, he's really cryptic, man. So It's tough, but that's kind of where my mind goes with it. I don't know. I don't know if it has like an automatic untangling, or if it's just like, fuck it. It's on the grapevine. I'm cutting everything that's tangled off, or whatever's not with me, then make itself untangle on its own. Getting cut off. You're done.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, what if? Because I don't know if you do a bunch of things to where now you got all these links and ties and cords, and then you die here with a bunch of ties, and the energy just kind of like what happens to the energy when it leaves the body like that, but it still has the energetic connections. Like you're probably bound to the same place. And so maybe you would want to like get rid of those connect. I don't know. That sounds, yeah. It feels like an organic web. It's like another type of web. It's not like the internet web, but like another web. Like you could be tied to this specific matrix forever. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know if it's. I wonder how. What if it's just like an augmented reality, to where it's like partially real, and it's just got this overlay that you can't. It's like a parasitic overlay. Do you know what I mean? It's like you know what I mean? I don't know. You know, I really don't. But I know that something's fishy. Like with the whole thing, the whole structure of the situation.
That what?
Something's fishy.
Oh, yeah.
And structure with the structure of the situation, like just because like it's just so vampiric. I'm like, man, this can't be the nature of everything. I mean, or it's just maybe it is. I don't know. So much shit is vampiric because in its personal identity, I guess. Because I'm looking for personal identity and seeing that. And I guess that's what I see a lot. I don't know, but
it could be that at times revealing what's going on. Like I feel like if it was 20 years, if you quantified it to 20 years, it's just like what we would see now around what we're looking at, because we're gonna have a more developed image and a more developed idea of actually what is this fishiness, and it feels like a mystery. It feels like a puzzle. It feels like something has been like some level of awareness about what's going on has been lost. How do you regain awareness? How do you find something that you don't know you lost, type shit? But then when you do, it's just like I feel like we're gonna be coming into a lot more memories. There's a lot more memories that go beyond like what we're conceiving of our body as. Or it just seems like
I wonder if this is a collapsing sensation, where you're just collapsing, where you have access to all your lifetimes, to where it's just collapsing to one. Like, I don't know. Like that's what it's gonna feel like. It's gonna be it's a great remembrance. The more I collapse, and like, everything kind of returns. That's how it is, if I got access to whatever, because it's like the circulation in my body is just all there, everything's complete. All my bodies.
Yeah. Yep. It's just, these things it just makes sense. I feel like because it starts like me asking what happens after you die, and I see things like progress. I look at things like comparing now. I'm looking at things like comparing as a tool to help me spur my own progress. But people can take comparison in so many other ways, but the comparison of like how well you could do in this life as far as untangling that mystery goes, and then what that turns into when you do transcend just like humanity into whatever made humanity, or something like that. Like it's always happening. It's always something we're getting on top of, but then we see like, okay, if you do kind of collapse your identity and you get into experiencing everything as yourself more and more, and looking at how just the dynamics, you know, the metaphysics of how we live in these bodies through lifetimes, and there's like on the blockchain of spirits and consciousness. Yeah, like it makes sense. These things, it kind of makes sense, but then there's no telling. That's the wildest part. I just started looking into the Kemetic alphabet. I'm just learning these sounds. But if I could explain things in hieroglyphs, I feel like it's already explained in hieroglyphs, and it's just way easier to conceive of. I'm like using English to talk about what happens after you die. I feel like it's impossible. It's literally impossible.
Yeah, we had to write now. You have to write like so many different types of books. You have to write like a chemistry book, and then like a biochemistry book, and then like you have to be all these other books. Then have to be the novel about death.
Dang.
It's so much. It's just so much. Yeah, you just have a pictogram. Like, boom. This is what happens. You get it? You get it yet? You see this shit?
Ooh.
It's all laid out for you. But,
yeah. It really is. There's a lot of care in it. It's just, Yep. I'm seeing it. I'm seeing more, but it's like, man. That's why I like the challenges. I don't know. There's just tons of challenges and things. Hella adversity, and it's just cool to get into it more and more. Like, okay, just something deeper unfolding. I feel like something's really unfolding. It's crazy. I don't know what it is, but it's like something.
I always just think about that. Like, how does that shit go? Like, you know, like there's got to be enough. Like, it's like space for God to inhabit a creature, a person. It has to have enough like personal identity to have this personal life. So like the consciousness is like there in that period of space, and then like the death happens. I wonder, like, because you know what I'm saying, like the consciousness is already on its way out, or the consciousness never moves, and the body is on its way out. So the consciousness is just really immovable. So like I always wonder like how that goes. Like if it just feels like kind of like that Looney Tunes shit when or like if you're like driving and you see the horizon start to disappear into the distance, like is that how life ends? Like if it's a smooth transition, so it's just like it's just going, you know what I mean? Because the body's just going, and your consciousness is just not going because it's immortal.
Yeah.
And the body is just it is going. So like I wonder that like as the identity is shifting, if that's how it feels like. And and then you know time's probably gonna start to break down the more that you get away from the body,
away
in
from
your
the brain.
identity. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you're looking at your body like from a distance of like, you know, it's like I wonder if it's just like things going black, or like you know so the horizon just disappearing. You know, something going over the horizon and disappearing. The body just, and then you get to it since when time the perception of time changes. Now you just see your whole life instantly, like a picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then it's just consolidated because you have perspective. So you're like, oh shit, that was it. Okay, all right, now I know what I gotta do next time. Yeah. It was just like a snapshot. I wonder. You know what I mean? And then you go back to complete blackness. And then it's probably like a let there be light, the whole thing. The scripture is probably all true. It's probably all accurate. Like the geometry and all of that. Of like that whole process of God going into complete blackness. And then reincarnating itself. And all of them faculties is what we share in. The consciousness and the physical and the mental and all the capacities are things that you're sharing in the likeness of the Creator. So I would feel like the form would be the same. It'd be a shared form. I feel like of death and recreation or creation and death. I feel like that whole process would probably be the same. I think like it would look the same. Like, and if it's a smooth transition, you see it, you probably be like, "Oh shit, I'm dying. My body dying. My body dying. All right, okay, I know where. All right, it's about to go all the way black. And I'm gonna start to cut. If I don't panic and I just let this happen and just stay present in it." You know, then drop the body and then gradually transition back into the light and then it's probably just like your first day on Earth, and then you go back into the darkness, and then as a baby or whatever, your dream, time is probably you've only been existing for like I don't know however long in the womb, 9 minutes in the womb. You ain't been existing that long, so your dream period probably feels like eternity. Every time you go to that consciousness, back to the body consciousness, it probably feels like a great distance. Because like when you're a 2-year-old, an hour feels long because an hour is a great deal of your life. You ain't been on a life. Hour to me is nothing at this point. I've been on Earth for decades, so it's just a small fraction of my life. But at 2, relative to that creature's existence, an hour is a large chunk in its consciousness.
It's like the only chunk of like the first hour.
Yeah, like you think about that. Like, so imagine that's what an hour looks like for a 2-year-old. An hour is probably mad long. And so then the dreams probably mad long, probably whole lifetimes.
And that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like, and it's just you want to smooth that transition to where you can welcome yourself like that. You know what I mean? To where it's not like the Bible says, like you don't want to die, and God be like, I don't know you. So I feel like you gotta know yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it's like that. Like I feel like it's just having a communion with the Father or your truest self or whatever, however communicate that. That is what is timeless and beyond the body, and it's like the place of refuge. The TAO is like the place of refuge. You're like, oh, let me refuge here, maintain myself in this darkness or whatever, with this connection to the Father, Heavenly Father, my truest self, my timeless self, and then through that I'll transition into the next file or next life. And the more I do this in my daily practice, going into the darkness, and then consciously waking up and doing it and going to sleep, and then I'm practicing for death every day. So it's like, and then I'm the art of death. So you get good at it, and then you're surviving it.
Okay.
And then I feel like you just get better at that, and then you really that's immortality. And then it's like, then you can probably know how to stretch shit. The better you get at that, you can just stretch shit, like learning and all that, like periods of learning and all that. So where
your mind's getting expanded too.
Yeah, I feel like that's the
expansion of the mind.
Yeah, I feel like that's it, man. I feel like people, that's like death could be. You can look at death as a whole other way, man. If you practice at it, you're practicing death every day in your life at some point, and it's like a portion. It's not like overwhelming, you know what I mean? But a portion practice in your life to practice death, to where when it happens. And then when you have the people in your life doing that with you, then they'll just have more security, and you dying like, all right, well, I have access to him through this process as well. And I know I'm going, it's not that he just went ahead, and I'm going to that place. It's not that I'm separated, it's just that this body's feeling that sense of separation. It's like, I feel like that just changes the whole process, like, again, like, it creates more security, and then you spend a different way, the way you're going to spend money. So I think your financial security will be different.
Because your spiritual security is on point.
Yeah. If you're already secure like that. And then so you're going to challenge yourself in a whole nother way.
Yep. And that's where we started. That's where the conversation started. And we were just getting over an hour, too. And I want to wrap this up in a second. Because this is a lot. We just covered the whole thing. Yeah. I can't believe it, but I can. This is making more and more sense, like, as far as how we can get a handle on time. And what's going on with this?
Yeah, and it's just like, I always just think about it like there's a place that you probably are immortal, physically. And then you just get lost in these, like, this is like the side paths. It's like lost, I forget what they call it, when you're lost in, not lost at sea. You're not like, you know what I mean? We're just out here in the tall grass now. I feel like, as far as like what's going on, but like I feel like there's that immortal space where you probably have a physical immortality. You know what I mean? Like, as far as what you're experiencing when you're in that, and I feel like that's like, you know, you can embody that more in all of these little side lives as much as possible. But like, ultimately, like, there's this constant life, probably, that you're coming from. And I feel like that's like what people call heaven or whatever. I feel like it's just the immortal space. And like, you know, it's probably just like, you know, when you get woken up in the Matrix, where they get woken up at when they take Neo out the thing, that space where he was at, where Lawrence Fishburne pulled him out. Yeah. I feel like that probably the immortal space where people are actually at. And, you know, some people just lost in the sauce in that space, and it just shows itself in all of these like little experiences, these little lives.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're just, so we can, it's just connecting back, or connected with it, just aligning with the eternal life.
Yeah, and then I feel, the more that you like align with it, then the more like you're not separate from it. And so like you just embodying it now until you get there. So it's like you're already on your way every breath anyway, so you're there. And it's just, you know, it's not like a separation thing. It's just that experience of, you know, like the TAO, you know, practice, exercise them by returning to yourself. So you have to go away. So the whole exercise of return is practiced through going away. And I think that's, I guess, like what this was.
Boom.
You know, you got far away.
It's what it was. It's what it is.
It's just like a really far away algorithm, you know, just circulating out here. And you're like, okay, now we're out here. We're out here on Easter Island of algorithms. So, you know, this exists. And if I get access to all the other shades of the rainbow and walk it back, then they probably don't mean it's probably just complimentary.
As it all is. So, in harmony or order.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna stew on these. I'm just gonna do what I can to realize a lot more. I'm gonna be my best. I'm gonna be my best in realizing this. We could reconvene and have another conversation in a week or so. If you're down, this is incredible, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. We definitely talk again. See what's going on. Next week's supposed to be a bunch of people going on strike because that a lot of people's jobs started the mandate on November 8th. Some people should start on January 4th, but a lot of people should start November 8th, and then then all of the pilots and shit is December 8th. The baggage handlers and all of them too, they affect this shit too.
Yeah.
So like, it's gonna be interesting times.
Yeah, and it makes me feel weird. That's why I brought it up in the beginning, because it's just, I feel weird with kids. I don't like, they're really targeting the people who didn't get the stab, with having like the older generation and then now a younger generation kind of sandwiching. Now the people who don't have it are getting sandwiched between this whole generation of kids and then this other generation of like older.
Yeah, they really isolating people, man. This chick was so bad, yo. She was stabby, man. I still want to hit it, but I'm probably never gonna bring myself to doing it, man.
Oh, no.
You know what I mean? So it's like, damn. You gotta think about that though. Like, if people's parents is in their kids, this is the mark of the beast. And then their kids hear like that. How them kids gonna treat the kids that got it? And they just was kids. They wasn't, you know what I mean? They just wanted to go to school to play or whatever, to learn. It's fucked up, yo, the whole situation. Yo. It's like, damn. Ugh.
Like, it's child abuse. Like, me seeing the kid getting injected on a mandate is just looking, because people will watch children getting abused on private videos. You know, like, in the darkest places, you know, when people, like the child porn and shit like that, like
child rape that is recorded.
Exactly. In its surface now.
It's
just showing,
no
like,
child
really
porn. There's only child rape.
It's not hidden anymore. like is this just it's blatant child rape that it's on the TV screen now, and it's like this is what it's supposed to be, and it's
yeah. I mean, you look, yeah, man. Look, I always wanted to do porn, right? So like, I always look at the top 100 like seasonally. You know what I mean? Maybe like twice a year I check out the top 100. And always sliding in bitches that look like little fucking girls and boys. I'm like, what the fuck, man? These little bitches out here. I might want to fuck these bitches. Like, but they push that shit on you.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, it's coming. It's just gonna turn up. It's like the volume on all that reality. The volume's just getting turned up to where it's just this is through and through. This is what's been going on. This is nothing's new. It's just more obvious. So yeah, let's check it. Let's be aware. Let's be aware and see what happens. Check back in, man. Anything else you want to say? And thanks to the Patreon supporters, man. This is. I'm so glad we can have these conversations with a group of people like this. So.
Oh yeah, no, man, nothing much, man. Just cooling. Just gonna, I guess, keep weathering these storms and see where things go. You know what I mean? Because I think now it's like hard to project at all.
Yeah, so we'll stay lit, stay balanced, in alignment, and yeah, we'll catch you on the flip, man.
All right, man. Let me know how this goes.
Excellent. Yeah, I will. I'll send you some stuff. I'll see if I can get some clips and whatnot together. So I'll let you know.
Right.
I'll keep you posted.
Word.
All right, cool.
All right, man.
Peace.